We live in a world of endless noise and constant motion. Everything around us urges haste, reaction, indulgence. Notifications pull at our attention. Temptations whisper for instant gratification. Emotions demand our surrender. And yet, amid this whirlwind, there exists an ancient path walked by warriors, philosophers, emperors, and common people alike. A path of clarity, composure, and control. That path is Stoicism. And at the heart of Stoicism lies one truth: self-discipline is the gateway to inner peace. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm unshaken. The winds rage, the sky roars, chaos envelops the world around you. But you remain still calm and centered. Not because you are immune to the storm, but because you have mastered your mind. That is the Stoic ideal. Not to escape the difficulties of life, but to meet them with courage, to endure them with strength, and to respond with virtue. To do that, one must first conquer the self. Self-discipline is not a restriction of freedom. It is the expression of true freedom, the freedom from being ruled by impulse, by fear, by anger, by greed, by craving. It is the power to choose what is right over what is easy. It is the decision to be guided by reason, not by emotion, by purpose, not by impulse. Every time you say no to a short-lived pleasure that leads to long-term regret, and yes to a difficult choice that builds character, you are exercising this discipline. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote not to the world, but to himself. His meditations were private reflections, a manual for his own soul, and yet they speak to us across the ages because his battles were ours. He reminded himself, you have power over your mind and not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That realization is not passive. It is not abstract. It is the result of relentless practice, of choosing not to be disturbed by what you cannot control, and to focus entirely on what you can: your thoughts, your choices, your character. Inner peace is not a gift. It is not something we stumble upon by chance. It is not dependent on external conditions, which will always change. Peace is earned. Peace is built through daily, deliberate action. It is the byproduct of a well-ordered soul. It is the reward for those who train their minds as a soldier trains for war. Not to fight the world, but to defend the fortress within. In our pursuit of peace, there will be struggle. Self-discipline demands sacrifice. It is far easier to surrender to comfort. It is tempting to give in to what feels good in the moment. But the Stoics knew that discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. It is the refusal to let temporary emotions dictate eternal decisions. It is the strength to wake up early when the bed is warm. It is the courage to do the right thing when no one is watching. Whoa. It is the wisdom to endure insults, setbacks, and misfortunes without complaint or bitterness. Epictetus, born a slave and later revered as a teacher, taught that the key to a tranquil life is to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. He said, "A freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." How much anxiety, how much anger, how much wasted energy do we spend on what others say, on what might happen, on what we cannot change? When we learn to let go of these things and focus instead on our own thoughts, our own choices, our own values, then we begin to taste peace. This peace is not the absence of adversity. It is the presence of resilience. It is the calm in the midst of storms, not their absence. It is the ability to face hardship without despair, to encounter insult without rage, to bear disappointment without surrender. It is forged not in moments of ease, but in the fire of trials. It grows stronger every time we act with integrity when it would be easier not to. The Stoic does not deny emotion, but they refuse to be ruled by it. They feel deeply, but act wisely. They do not avoid pain, but they do not fear it. They do not seek out suffering, but when it comes, they use it as a teacher. They do not expect the world to be fair or easy, but they are committed to being just and strong regardless. To be disciplined is to have mastery over the self. It is to be the ruler of your own kingdom, where your thoughts are your subjects and your impulses are under command. It is to live deliberately, intentionally, with awareness and purpose. It is to rise each day with a clear mind and an unwavering heart, and to ask not, what will the world do to me today, but rather, what will I do with what the world gives me? Self-discipline is not achieved in one moment, but cultivated over time. It is built brick by brick, decision by decision. It is the product of 1,000 small victories, rising early, practicing silence, holding your tongue when angry, finishing what you start, choosing humility over pride, action over complaint. It is saying no to distraction, no to excuse, no to blame, and yes to excellence, to virtue, to growth. Inner peace is not a destination at the end of the road. It is the road. It is the way we walk through life with steadiness, with acceptance, with courage. It is not a state of apathy or indifference, but of clarity and confidence. It is knowing who you are, what you stand for, and how you will respond to whatever life brings. It is the stillness that comes from alignment between values and actions. In this modern world of urgency and comparison, of instant rewards and artificial pleasures, Stoicism offers a radical alternative: patience, presence, perseverance. It invites us to look inward, to examine our thoughts, to challenge our habits, to elevate our character. It reminds us that peace is not found in what we own, but in how we live. Not in what happens to us, but in how we respond. So let us not seek a life free of hardship, but a mind free of disturbance. Let us not chase every desire, but choose those that make us better. Let us not fear discomfort, but embrace it as a forge. Let us not be slaves to our impulses, but masters of our destiny. Let us not merely exist, but live with purpose. Each day is a battle. Not against the world, but against the weaker parts of ourselves. The part that wants to quit, the part that wants to complain, the part that wants to indulge, escape, or blame. The Stoic wakes each morning prepared for the battle, armed with reason, shielded by virtue, guided by discipline. They greet the day not with dread, but with resolve. They do not hope for easy days. They hope to be strong enough for whatever the day brings. There is a warrior within you, not one who conquers others, but one who conquers the self. Not one who shouts or boasts, but one who endures and overcomes. Not one who is ruled by impulse, but one who is guided by wisdom. This warrior does not wear armor or wield a sword. They wear patience, they wield discipline, and their battlefield is within. You have the power to live this way, not perfectly, not always without failure, but with commitment, with practice, with honesty. Every moment is a chance to strengthen your inner citadel. Every temptation is a test. Every difficulty is an opportunity to choose discipline over chaos, calm over panic, growth over stagnation. The world does not owe you peace, but you can build it. One choice at a time, one breath at a time, one day at a time. Hold the line. Be unmoved by trivial offenses. Be undistracted by shallow pleasures. Be unbroken by hardship. And you will discover that the greatest freedom, the deepest joy, the most lasting peace does not come from what you possess, but from who you are. That is the Stoic way. That is the disciplined path. And that is where peace begins. In every moment of our lives, we are confronted with a choice: to be ruled by chaos or guided by order, to give in to what is easy or to rise toward what is right, to be swept away by emotion or to stand rooted in reason. These choices, seemingly small, often invisible to others, are the foundation of our lives. They are the quiet battles that shape our destiny. And in these battles, Stoicism offers us a compass, a strategy, and a strength that begins and ends with self-discipline. We live in a time that praises indulgence and scorns restraint, a world that confuses comfort with happiness, distraction with peace. But look closer. Beneath the surface of excess, anxiety grows. In the chase for more, we find less fulfillment. In the noise of opinions, our own voice gets lost. Why? Because the world tells us to conquer everything, except ourselves. But the Stoics knew better. They knew that no man is free who is not master of himself, that the greatest empire to rule is the one within. That true peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of virtue. And that virtue is impossible without self-discipline. What is self-discipline? It is the decision moment by moment to live by principles instead of impulses, to pursue what is meaningful even when it is difficult. It is the refusal to let circumstance dictate character. It is the strength to remain true when everything around you tempts you to stray. Self-discipline begins with awareness. You cannot control what you do not first understand. How often do we react without thinking, speak without reflection, procrastinate, complain, envy, or judge without even noticing? The Stoic learns to pause, to watch the mind like a guardian at the gate, to examine every thought, to question every motive, to ask, Is this within my control? Is this in line with who I want to be? When you begin to live this way, you begin to see clearly. You recognize that you are not your emotions, not your desires, not your habits. You are the one who chooses how to respond to them. Anger rises, but you don't have to follow it. Fear whispers, but you don't have to obey. Temptation knocks, but you don't have to answer. That is the power of discipline. It doesn't numb you, it awakens you. Self-discipline is not rigid. It is not punishment. It is strength with gentleness, firmness with wisdom. It's the ability to say no to what harms you so you can say yes to what builds you. It's the silent act of greatness that no one sees, the early morning start, the disciplined meal, the book studied instead of the screen, the deep breath instead of the harsh word, the chosen silence over reactive noise. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Challenges are not interruptions to life. They are the training ground of the soul. You will fall. You will fail. You will be tempted, tested, wounded, but you will rise again if you choose discipline over defeat. If you view every obstacle as a forge, not a prison, you cannot control what the world does. People will disappoint you. Events will shake you. Circumstances will change. The Stoics knew this well, and so they trained their minds to hold fast to what matters. Courage, wisdom, justice, temperance. These are not traits you are born with. They are forged through action, repetition, and commitment. To build self-discipline, you must begin where you are. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't seek the perfect plan. Begin today. Begin now. Wake with purpose. Move with clarity. Speak with honesty. Act with integrity. When you fail, and you will, begin again. Each sunrise is a new chance to stand taller, to dig deeper, to live better. Inner peace is not found in still waters, but in a steady hand at the helm. Life will shake, but you do not have to. The Stoic does not seek to escape difficulty. They embrace it as an ally, a test, a teacher. They know that the price of peace is discipline, and the cost of discipline is effort. But what greater reward could there be than the calm of a clear conscience, the pride of a well-lived day, the joy of being unshaking in a shaking world? You are not too weak. You are not too far gone. You are not destined to remain as you are. The Stoic way invites you to rise. Not perfectly, but steadily. To strive, to stumble, to learn, and to continue. This is the way of the inner warrior, not one who conquers others, but one who conquers the self. Not one who controls the world, but one who controls their response to it. Ask yourself each day, did I master myself today? Did I do the difficult thing that I knew was right? Did I resist the easy lie and speak the hard truth? Did I choose stillness over reaction, growth over comfort, virtue over convenience? These are the questions that shape a meaningful life. The world will never stop throwing challenges your way. But you can stop being thrown off course by them. With self-discipline, you gain a quiet power and inner foundation. You learn that you are not a leaf blown by the wind. You are the mountain. The storm may rage, but it cannot move you. You may bend, but you do not break. Every disciplined action you take is a step toward peace. Every time you say no to what weakens you and yes to what strengthens you, you build a stronger version of yourself. Every time you delay gratification, endure hardship without complaint, and do what must be done, even when you don't feel like it, you move closer to the life you're meant to live. Inner peace is not the reward for avoiding life. It is the reward for living it well. For showing up day after day with intention and purpose. For choosing to respond with wisdom instead of being ruled by emotion, for staying true to your path, even when it's hard, even when no one sees, even when no one applauds. There is nothing glamorous about discipline. It is quiet, patient, consistent. It asks much and promises little, except the one thing that truly matters, freedom. The freedom to live as you choose, not as your impulses command. The freedom to rise above circumstance, to hold fast to virtue, to know yourself and be at peace with who you are becoming. Let others chase applause. Let them pursue comfort. Let them seek shortcuts. Choose the longer path, the harder path, the higher path, the higher path, the one that demands more of you and gives more in return, the path of the Stoic. And when the day ends and you reflect in silence, let it be with no regret. Let your peace be the echo of your discipline. Let your stillness be the reward for your struggle. Let your soul be at rest, not because life was easy, but because you were strong. You are capable of extraordinary calm. You are capable of unshakable strength. You are capable of becoming your highest self. But you must choose it, not once, but every day, every hour, every moment. Self-discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. Cross it. Inner peace is not given. It is earned. Earn it. The Stoic way is not the easy way, but it is the way worth walking, and you are ready.